Hello and welcome to another edition of the Stench of Truth. There's always plenty of bad news to share with you every single time I do these videos. And of course, sadly, I have to do that because we need to have reality. And we need to be focused on what's really going on. And if it's bad news, it's bad news. You can't do anything about it. However, this time I do have something good to report, and one needs to remember that there are always good things happening where people are finally waking up to the reality and doing something about it. And in that vein, we have the American Legislative Exchange Council, otherwise known as ALEC, that is bleeding members because of their outing into mainstream media, which of course followed alternative media's pointing out exactly what this organization has been doing. And of course, for people who are unaware of what ALEC represents, it is merely a front group for corporate interests. And the corporations who are involved in ALEC actually contribute to present bills to be approved by state legislatures in order to make their states more quote-unquote corporate friendly. And if you were to go back into recent history and look at bills that were presented, you would find all across the country state legislature bills that were written into law that were exactly the same thing that was presented by ALEC to the legislatures. These things are not even marked up, they're not changed in any way. Whatever ALEC presents to the legislature, it is sent on to committee and eventually passed. And all of these things represent beneficial attitudes toward corporations. Now, that would not necessarily be a bad thing, but whenever we look at what is going on in this country, the thing that everybody tries to point out who is opposed to the supposed sweeping federal government and all the evils it represents fail to recognize that there is a simultaneous assault that is going on in states around this country. And for people who seem to think that it's okay that states like Wisconsin and others are assaulting public unions and attempting to destroy the labor movement in this country by attacking unions in other fashion, are failing to see the broader picture here, and that is that the corporate takeover is not simply in the federal government, it's also in the state government. Now, you might not be affected yet by, anti-union laws that are in your state or coming up and being considered in your state, or pro-corporate laws that are coming up or going to be enacted in your state. But the point is that you will be. Even if you stand opposed to the supposed evil, nefarious federal government, and I'm not going to argue those terms, because as it stands right now, it is evil and nefarious. But you're not going to get away by crawling into your cave of states' rights and hoping that something happens in the realm of nullification or, the 10th Amendment or anything like this, because corporations are smart enough that they realize that they have to move into state houses across the country in order to cement their control. Now, what's great about the fact that ALEC is bleeding members, they're major people who have been involved with ALEC, like PepsiCo and Coca-Cola and Mars. A lot of other very big companies are dropping out as members of the American Legislative Exchange Council because of the fact that they have been outed in public. It's not because of any altruism, it's because this has come out of the shadows. And now ALEC is something that people know about, and they know that you have basically corporations writing the law. and it is being rubber stamped by state legislatures around the country. And as I pointed out, you need to realize that even though you may not be affected by a lot of these things that are going on in state legislatures around the country, in that they are attempting to break unions, they are attempting to gut public unions and public workers, and all of these things, you may sit back and think, well, you know, that doesn't affect me, so why should I be concerned about it? The fact of the matter is that you will be affected by these laws. You will be affected by it eventually, because ALEC is also pushing for natural gas shale drilling or fracking. And when your groundwater is turned into a soupy mess of chemicals, and you have a well built next door to your house, and you have absolutely no say in whether it goes in there or not, because the corporation has the absolute right to do what it does, then you're going to be worried. Then you're going to be affected. And guess what? When that well goes up and when your water is contaminated, it's too late for you to do anything about it. So now is a good time to jump on the bandwagon and go after ALEC, because it is now wide open in the public. And you need to push for your state legislatures and for your county, regional, and local people to get off of this idea of having their laws written by corporations for the benefit of corporations. And I need to point out to you that where corporations benefit, somebody else has to lose something, because they're getting something in this bargain. Now, if corporations are getting something, that has to come from somewhere else. And guess where it's coming from? It's coming from you, the people in the states that are affected by this. And I guarantee you there are similar organizations that have yet to become known in public consciousness that are working on local and regional efforts as well. And by outing this group, ALEC, we can hopefully start digging a little bit deeper and find the organizations that are trying to change the zoning laws in your small little municipality, and that are trying to get pro-corporate legislation which allows corporations to buy your water rights, to put up a fracking plant next to your house, to take over public services that, you know, traditionally have been provided by your local municipality. I guarantee you that's happening. And the point of this all is that you will be affected by this. And it will not be in a good way down the road. If we just allow corporations to come in and write the terms and have it rubber stamped by the legislatures, wherever they happen to be, supposedly representing the people. So this is good news. And it's a way that you can actually have a beneficial effect and know that people out there who are struggling and fighting to try to make some changes are actually achieving some goals. So if ALEC ends up going down because of this, which I thoroughly hope it does, that will be a sign of a major victory against corporate domination in this country. And remember, it's not just a federal thing. You will not escape in your state, because they are attempting to rewrite all the laws in the states to make it more beneficial for them. And that means encroachment on your rights, liberties, and everything that you took for granted as a public service that you pay tax dollars for. You won't escape the corporate behemoth in your state, or in your municipality, or your locality. So this is good news. And we need to be focused on things like this to keep outing the corporate influence wherever it happens to be, so that individuals, families, and people, actual living real people, not the supposed people of corporations, actually end up with benefits. So that's some good news today. Thank you. Good day.